for quite some time, but John Paulson making it official today. He's converting his hedge fund into a family office. He told investors today in a letter that he'll be returning all the capital in the firm 24 years after starting Paulson & Co. In the excerpt,
after 2015, guys, 2014, his hedge fund suffered huge losses, and it just goes to show, guys. So let me tell you guys a little bit about John Paulson. John Paulson made basically the reason a lot of people have heard of him is because of the short that he made a huge windfall during the financial crisis by shorting the mortgage market and basically shorting a lot of stocks and indices that ultimately tanked during the 2008-2009 financial crisis. So that's how he made a name for himself. But he had been running his hedge fund ever since ever since like the 90s. I want to say 1994, but don't quote me on that. But he had been a hedge fund manager for quite a while. It wasn't like the short that he did or that he made in 2008, 2009 was his first investment. He was already in the business, going back even further back into the 80s. I think he worked at a couple of investment houses. But what I want to do in this video, guys, is I just want to show you guys that being an investor, guys, even at a hedge fund, once you're at the hedge fund level, and I'm talking about like people like Bill Ackman, Bruce Berkowitz, John Paulson, I believe David Winters from the Wintergreen Fund. It's not easy, guys. David Winters is actually one of the fund managers that closed his fund. And as of recently, what I read in the Wall Street Journal is that Jim Chanos of Kinnickos Associates closed down his fund, and that was also a shorting fund. And basically, when you go short, is basically you're betting that the stock or the index is going to go down, and basically you bet against that company. And he closed this fund. It's now, I believe, he turned it into a family office, which is the same thing that John Paulson did with his hedge fund. And it's he turned it into a family office or just a privately run fund. But it's no longer a hedge fund that takes money from institutional investors. So basically,
renowned short seller Jim Chanos telling CNBC he'll be converting his hedge fund to a family office advisory business. He says he will return most of his investors' money to them. Chanos is best known for his bet against Enron before its bankruptcy in 2001. Also Baldwin.
And now it's somewhere around like $1 billion, and a lot of that is just his own money. So Bruce Berkowitz is still hanging in there, but a lot of people have left his fund because with his investments in Sears and Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, he lost a lot of money, guys.
Tend to deal with highly regulated businesses where one civil servant can decide whether a very large company lives or dies based upon a perception of social good and without any respect for owners. In fact, the Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac situation made me think that ownership is becoming an illusion in highly regulated companies.
Why his fame?
Hard to stay in business, guys, and it's hard to make money grow you're not always going to hit winners. You're not always going to make investments that are winners. You're going to take losses, guys. However, those losses cannot break you because if it breaks you, you're going to go out of business. You'll be out of business really soon, and your investors will leave you, as a lot of these guys that I mentioned have found out. So basically, guys, what I'm saying is John Paulson, and if you guys want to read his book, they wrote a book about him, The Greatest Trade Ever. It's by a guy named Zuckerman. I forget his first name, but I believe his last name is Zuckerman. He was a Wall Street Journal reporter. The Greatest Trade Ever. And read that book, guys. I read that book probably about, I want to say like 5 or 6 years ago. And it basically tells his story about how he got started in investing, working at different investment houses, and then finally starting his own hedge fund. And like I said, they even wrote a book about John Paulson because he became so well known because of his short of the financial market and the mortgage market in 2008, 2009. And like I said, it was a huge windfall for him. But now John Paulson's just running a small family office fund somewhere in New York or Long Island. I don't know where he's at, but he's not this huge hedge fund manager that has grown his company or his hedge fund from, you know, where it was in the 90s to like now it's one of the major hedge funds. It's not. It's a lot of these hedge funds that were huge in the 90s, even in the 2000s, are now out of business. So it's hard, guys. I'm not trying to say that investing is hard to try to scare you guys or don't try it. No. All I'm saying, guys, is that be careful, because you really, investing is no joke, guys. You have to really get down and open up those books and read and study everything. You know, Warren Buffett in a recent interview said that he reads about 5 hours a day, and that's because he's 93. But back at the peak of where he was, you know, investing, he used to read 8 hours a day. Okay, so this is a 90-year-old man, and he still reads 5 hours a day to be a good investor. He has to constantly be up on what's going on in the market. What is going on where are the opportunities that he sees? I think also as of late, he's been investing heavily in Japan. I think Japan stocks right now are cheap, but like I said, I'm not invested in Japan, so don't take my word for it. You guys have to do your own due diligence. But what I'm saying, guys, is you guys, if you guys want to be good investors, you have to do the work, guys. Nobody's going to do it for you. Yes, it's great that there's things like Value Line, there's things like Morningstar, Standard & Poor's, the analyst reports. Yes, you can read through those, but ultimately, you will have to understand accounting. You will have to understand financial history, psychology, and math. You know, just basic math and also to be able to understand what's around the corner. What is that newspaper article trying to tell you? What is it showing you? Investing, again, ask David Winters, ask Bruce Berkowitz, ask John Paulson. It's not an easy game to play, guys. And for those of people that think that they're just going to hit it big and they're going to become rich over a year or 2 years, no. I've always felt that investing is more of a long-term game. It's not something that you get rich overnight from. It's something that helps you compound your money, and you start seeing results, and you start seeing your money grow in, like, I would say like 10, 20 year time, guys. You can't get rich overnight. And that shouldn't be your goal. So I guess I just want to make this video, guys, just as a cautionary note that don't think that investment is easy. Just like anything else that you get into, it's going to take hard work on your part. Good week. It's the start of the week. It's Monday morning. And have a great week, guys. Take care. Have a good one. Signing off.